hello everybody. Today I'm going to do a character creation video. I did one for Splittermond already a long time ago. It was kind of trying to use the software and also trying to use live streaming using software that I hadn't used before. The campaign that I created, well, first of all, we all saw that the software was kind of not user-friendly and the most recent version isn't working properly either, but that's fine. So I'm going to do this old school. I can't use the other character that I created because it was created for a different campaign that then never happened. So I have now been asked to join a campaign that I'm really looking forward to. And I'm going to start creating a character. So a couple of things that we have to start with. There are things like Ressourcen. And I'm going to use the German terms because that's easier. There are Stärken, there are Fertigkeiten, there are Magieschulen. I'm going to explain to you what those are. And then there are Zauber. And then we have Attribute. Okay, so first of all, we have resources. I'm going to explain what this is later. We've got strengths, schools of magic, abilities, spells and attributes. Why do I write it down like this? Well, the way you do character creation in this game is modular. So basically you start out by making a decision what kind of race you're playing, where you are from, what your background is, and then what your job is. And depending on what you choose, you get resources, strengths, abilities, schools of magic, also spells and attributes come last. So first of all, we're going to play a human being because this is a decision that I've already made. So we're going to go to where humans are. And it tells us that for attributes, we get +1 and +1 for one attribute. So you can't say I want to have +2 for one attribute. It has to be two separate ones. And we're going to say M and M. The reason why I'm putting it down like this is because it is quite interesting and important to later on know why you are getting certain things, because they will be doubling up. And then sometimes it's a bit difficult to say, oh, why did I get this? Why did I get a resource here? Well, you got it because it comes with your background, for example. Okay, we have something else, and that is the so-called size, which we're gonna put up here, and we have size 5. We get +2 points that we can invest in strengths for step 7. And we get the strength, zusätzliche Splitterpunkte. And that is because we are human. So that's all that we get from this. Then you have additional things like you can roll for eye color and skin color, but I already know what I look like, so that doesn't really come into play. Then we have to think about where we are from. In this case, I'm from Selenia, simply because that's where the adventure is set, and I don't know very much about the world. I haven't really read up about much of the lore, so I don't want to make it even more difficult for myself. So I'm just going to say, okay, so we play in a certain area and I'm going to come from there. So first of all, it gives me as my native language Dragoreisch. That is the language that I speak. I'm also gesellig. That's something that I have to put in here. So that's because I'm from Selenia. I have Kulturkunde Selenia. I get +1 for fighting style. So I can get Tierführung 2. That's because I'm from Selenia. I can get 1 additional School of Magic. So I get 1 MS. Then we have Empathie 2. 2 in Geschichte und Mythen. Zwei in Handwerk, so 2 in Handwerk, Geography 1. So this is all Selenia. Then we have nature knowledge 1. And 1 in fast talk and 1 in seeing and perception. And we get 1 Meisterschaft, so that is a special ability where we say where you can do something special, and that is Geschichte und Mythen, so myths and legends, and the ability is Draconians. Okay, so that was that. Next up is our background. So our background is let's see where they are. Page 51. So you have different backgrounds, and I've decided that I'm not descended from hermits. I'm not descended from people who are scholars. I'm not descended from I'm gonna be descended from somebody who is a tradesperson. And as a result, I get, as a resource, 2 in mentor, 1 in relic, and 1 in shelter. I get 1, and we're going to put this down, that we get this because we are tradespeople. I get 1 in brawl, 1 in trade, and 1 in specialized tradesmanship. I get 1 in survival, and I get 1 in toughness. Okay, so, and then we have to make a decision what we want to be when we grow up, and we have made the decision that I want to be an elemental magician. So here we have a couple of things that we can do. So I've worked on this already, so I know a little bit about it. For strengths, we're going to take chosen 1 of water beings. No, actually wind beings. So wind creatures like me. As a resource, we get 2 for relic. Abilities 2 in natural magic. Arcane ability, 3. Diplomacy, 1. Decisiveness, 3. One in geography, 2 in knowledge of nature, 2 in survival. Here you have usually got a choice, but I'm going to take what I think makes sense. I get another. Now we need more space. 2 in toughness. We get 2 in Banmagie, which is the magic, which is defensive magic. And we get, so actually we can put it here. And we could also put this one over here. And put this in here. Then we're going to get 4 and 4 and 2 and 2. So we're going to have Windmagie, so the magic of wind and the magic of water. And we're going to have 2 in Felsmagie, which is the magic of stones, and then the magic of fire also gives us 2. And I forgot that I actually, when I first created this, that I have an additional magic school, which I didn't choose. That's interesting. Okay, so and then we get 2 abilities, additional abilities in 2 schools of magic, and we're going to take wind resistance and we're going to take water resistance 1, which means that we are that it is less possible for us to be affected adversely by water or wind and their derivatives like ice and so on, so coldness or electricity. So that's what we have to do. So this is now all we need to do. Well, all we need to do. And then we now need to look at the attributes. And attributes, we have 18 points for attributes. And the attributes we've got are Charisma, Ausstrahlung, Beweglichkeit, Movement, Intuition, Intuition, Constitution, Constitution, Mystic, Mysticism, Strength, Stärke, Verstand, Intelligence, and Willenskraft, Willpower. Now, you have 18 points that you can distribute across these. Each one has to take 1 point. You can't have zeros at this stage. So you have to basically say, okay, 1 goes into 1, each one. So which means 2, 4, 6, 8. So you have 10 points that you can then attribute in addition. Nothing can go over 3 during this step. So the maximum is 3. So first of all, we know that we are going to be an elementarist, and we're going to focus on wind magic and water magic. So what we do is we go to wind magic and water magic in the School of Magic information, and it tells us at the very beginning which attributes influence which type of magic. So we have Ban, so that's kind of like trying to defy magic. That's mysticism and will. So mysticism is always the main one. So we know already we want to have a 3 in this. Very simple. So we put in a 3. Then we know that water is plus intelligence, or intuition rather. So you put in a 3 here, and we know that we want wind, which is a 3 in intelligence. So these ones are already done. Now, we also know that willpower is important, because the willpower is the strength that helps us regain, or that actually, and this is where it becomes a little bit problematic, the way they explain character creation. Because there are derived abilities, and they tell you about those kind of at the end, which is a bit problematic. You have focus, which is your magic power. It's the amount of magic points, if you like, that you have. And let's just take an empty one. Focus is 2 times mysticism plus will. Then you have life points, which is your size, which in our case is 5, plus constitution. So you don't want this to be too low either. You have defense, which is strength plus movement, plus 12. And you have your physical and your mental resilience. And these are 12 plus constitution and will, and 12 plus this and intelligence and will. So will is also one that is quite important. So looking at this, it means that we don't really need charisma, and we don't really need that much movement. So now we've got 2, 5, 8, 11. So we have 7 points left. And we're going to put 3 in constitution, 3 in will, and 2 in strength. So 2, 5, 8, 10, No, that's actually, so we're going to put 2 in Constitution. So it's 5, 7, 10, 18. So this is now round number 2. Now remember, we are human, so we can put 2 more points into 2 separate areas. So we're going to put 1 in mysticism, because this influences all of our spell casting. And the other one is willpower, because that influences all of our resistance and our focus. So we're going to bring these 2 up to 4, so that we now have 1, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've done this. Good. Next up, we have the ability to add 3 points to strengths that we have, or to strengths that we would like. Since we are human, we have 5 in total. So we already have a couple of strengths already. We have got additional splinter points. We are people who like being around other people. And we are chosen by the beings that belong to the sphere of wind. So now we can look at those strengths. And we find strengths on page 72. And we will choose, first of all, erhöhte Fokusregeneration, which costs us 2 points. What does this do? It means we can gain back our magical powers more quickly. So now we've got 5 left. We will also take erhöhter Fokus Pool, which increases our focus by 5 points for each time we choose this. We are also going to take Stable Magic. This means that if we have a catastrophic failure or a failure when we try to cast a spell, we can mitigate this this problem. And I can tell you, they can lead to you being incinerated by failing your own spell. So they are actually quite serious. So we have this. So we have now spent 5 points. We have 2 more. And we are going to use those on erhöhter Fokus Pool 2 times 2, because we can, and it's quite cheap at this stage. So we have 10 focus points out of this. So this is now done. We get 2 more points for resources. So now we're going to start combining them. We have Mentor 2, we have 3 in relics altogether. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say Relikte, we have 3 points. Mentor, we have 2. Zuflucht, we have 1. And that's all we've got. So now we have 2 more points that we can choose. So we're going to take money, 1, and I have to say that I don't really like this resource thing very much. And we're going to go for contacts. It just means that we know some people. And lastly, we have abilities, 5 points. But we can never exceed 6. So now comes the time where we actually look at the abilities that we have. And as you can see, the way this is spread out over different parts of the book, it's a bit difficult really, but it can be done. So we start with Schusswaffen, because I also want to be able to fight using a crossbow. So here I've got 1 point. We also have the ability Tierführung, which means handle animal. And in total we have 2 already. So just going to tick those off because we got them in the beginning. Empathy. I guess we got twice. We got 2 points up here. Oh, I think we only ever got 2, didn't we? Okay, so Empathie gives us 2 points. Geschichte und Mythen. We've got 2 points up here. And it stays at 2. Handwerk. We got 2, 3 in total. We got 1 in Edelhandwerk. So we can remove this one as well. Geography. We've got a total of 1, 2, then we've got knowledge nature, where we get 2 points, 4 points in total. Fast talk. I think we only have 1. Yes, 1 point. Perception. We have 1. Brawl. We have 1. Survival. We have 1. We have 3 in total. Toughness. We have 1. We have 3 in total. Arcane knowledge. We have 3. Diplomacy, we have 1. Decisiveness. We have 3. And then we have our magic. We have Bannmagie, 2, and Naturmagie also 2. And we can choose one more, which I forgot earlier. Okay. So now we have 5 points that we can invest. And this is also for water magic. wind magic, for which we have 4 already. And then of course we have Fels, so that's stone magic and fire magic. And we've also got 2. So what we're going to do first is, because we now have 5 points that we can distribute freely, but we can only ever have a maximum of 6. So we're going to put 2 into water magic and wind magic. So that's very important. And we're going to put one in ban magic. So we've got, ban magi, so we've got 4 spent and we have 1 left, and we're going to put this into arcane knowledge. So now we need to choose 1 more school of magic. And let's see what appeals. Movement, knowledge. Knowing or arcane knowledge, knowing that there is healing. Healing, illusion, fighting. Let's see. This dagger, how does this work? There's a ghost dagger, but I suppose if you have to use it in melee, this doesn't really help because my melee sucks. Yeah. Yeah. No, we don't want this. Light magic. Magic of nature we've already got. Shadow magic. Fate magic. Strength magic. Death magic. Yes, we're going to take death magic for this one. This is going to be interesting. Okay, so we've now done this. And now the next step is we now have 15 points. Which we can choose to allocate to different things. So for example, you could increase an attribute which costs you 10. You can add something to an ability. You can get a strength, and you can buy magic, so spells, and you can get masteries, you can get resources, and you can buy languages. Now, we already have, and this is something that I find a bit problematic, because what they don't tell you here is that for each of the magical schools that you have at least 1 point in, you get free spells. So what I did when I first created my magic user was I started buying spells, which meant I had nothing left for other points, because spells are quite expensive. For a 0 grade, you pay 1. For a level 1, you pay 3, and for a level 2, you pay 6. So they are actually quite expensive, but you get free spells to begin with. So this is something that they should not have done in the last step, but at this step to explain to you what you get. So first we're going to choose spells. So and the spells that I choose, we start with Banmagie. So and here we have 3. So we get 1, 0, and 1. So we get Zauberer behindern, which means we make it impossible for a spellcaster to do something, or we're trying to make it more difficult. And we're going to have Untote Schwächen, which means we are going to make sure that the undead have less power. Then we've got Magic of Nature. And this we're going to use for now this is interesting, because some of them exist in different schools. We're going to take Magischer Kompass, which means that we can always find our way, because we always know which way we're facing. Then we have Todesmagie, Death Magic, where we have 1 point only, but it still means we get 1 free spell of level 0. And this allows us to Hauch der Geister, which makes it possible for us to see if there are ghosts around us. Then we've got Fire Magic, where we have 2 points, so we get 1 free spell of level 0. And we're going to take Warmth. Then we have Stone Magic, where we're going to take Hardness. Then we're going to take Wind Magic, where we get 1, 0, 1, 3, 1 level 1 and 1 level 2. We're going to take Shove. We're going to take Lightning Strike. And we're going to take being able to look shock grip. Now this means that if we touch someone, we can actually give them electricity damage. And for water magic, we're gonna take Purify Water. Ability to see in fog. And Ice Javelin. Okay, so now this is done. From the 15 points that we had previously, we now need to make a decision how we want to spend them. So we can invest them in strengths, and we're going to add focus pool times 3, which costs us 7 points. Then we are going to spend 2 points on strengths. Which we have already done, so we're done. And now we have 1 left. And for this, we are going to buy a spell, because that's the only thing we can do. And we are going to buy a level 0 spell. And this level 0 spell will be Blick in die Geisterwelt. And now let's take one final look. We now need to make a decision. We can now also choose additional special abilities. Mastery, if we have 6 points, and we have 2 times 6 points in water magic and wind magic, and I'm going to choose the same one, and that is reduce costs each time. So for each school of magic, you can choose to reduce costs, which means that you spend less on your spells. That's what I choose, and you have to choose it twice. You have to choose it for every single school of magic separately, so I'm done with that. And last but by no means least, we have to choose what kind of a moon splinter is going to decide our fate. And here I am going to go with Spirit of Thought. And what this does is you can use this to take physical damage and channel it into your magic pool, into your focus pool. So instead of taking 5 points of physical damage, I can say, I stay physically intact. I'm going to throw it into my focus pool and reduce that. So that's a really good thing if you have not very many life points, which I don't, because that's not really my strength, as it were. And I have quite a large focus pool. So this is how you create a magic user in Splittermond. Unfortunately, this book and none of its supplements is available in English. And as you may have heard, the company, the publishing company, has gone bust. They're in receivership, so I doubt that they will ever produce a translation. If you speak German, I can recommend Splittermond. It's a nice game. It is quite well developed. This is the rule book. You also have the world, which I also did a leaf through earlier this year. The books are high quality. The art is kind of not so good, I'm afraid. I don't really like the art, but you know, sometimes you just have to accept that they had to save money somewhere, so they decided to save it on the art, because some of the art is really bad. It's a nice game. It's got something unique about it, which is the combat system, and I'm not going to explain it to you because I think it's better seen. So if you ever want to find out about it, go and watch some of the Splittermond games that you can find on YouTube. They are in German. You will have to sit through all of the parts that you don't understand until you come to the battle. But what they do is they have kind of like a battle board, and then you move around using ticks, which are units of time, and I think that's quite interesting. Like I said, I've been invited to participate in a campaign which is going to probably last around 6 to 10 sessions. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I will definitely get back to you and let you know how it went. Bye, talk to you soon.